HOA Karen called cops after gifting my ranch lake, didn't know I control their budget. The air was thick with the scent of pine and betrayal as the sun dipped low over Silver Lake. My ranch, a sprawling 200 acres of Montana wilderness, had been my sanctuary for decades. The lake, its crown jewel, shimmered like a sheet of glass, a quiet witness to the storm brewing on its banks. I'd spent years restoring this land, coaxing life from its rocky soil, and building a legacy I thought was untouchable. But Karen, the HOA president from the gated community across the highway, had other plans. It started innocently enough. Karen, with her perfectly manicured nails and a smile that never reached her eyes, approached me last spring. The HOA wanted to host their annual picnic by my lake. "It's for the community," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "We'll even gift you a plaque for your generosity." I wasn't keen on their entitled crowd trampling my land, but I agreed, thinking it'd keep the peace. They'd have their picnic and I'd have my quiet back. Or so I thought. The picnic came and went, but Karen didn't leave. She started showing up uninvited, claiming the lake was now community property because I'd gifted it. She waved a flimsy document, a so-called agreement I'd never signed, demanding access for her HOA cronies. I laughed it off at first. Karen was known for her petty power trips, but when she started posting public access signs around my lake, I knew this was war. I confronted her one crisp morning, my boots crunching on the gravel path. "Karen, this is my land. You don't get to rewrite the rules." Her eyes narrowed and she spat back. "You can't hoard a lake, Tom. It's for everyone. I'll make sure of it." That's when she pulled out her phone and called the cops, accusing me of trespassing on my own property. The audacity was breathtaking. The police arrived, two young officers looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Karen stood smugly, arms crossed, as she spun her tale of my hostile refusal to share. I stayed calm, leaning against my truck, and handed the officers my deed. "Check the records," I said. "This lake's mine, always has been." Karen's face twitched, but she doubled down, insisting her HOA had rights. The officers, clearly exasperated, promised to look into it and left. I thought that was the end. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. My old friend, Marty, a quiet accountant who'd moved to the HOA neighborhood a year ago, called me that night. "Tom, you need to know something," he said, his voice low. "Karen's been skimming HOA funds for years. Nobody's caught on because she controls the books. But I've got proof." Marty had stumbled on financial records showing Karen funneling dues into her personal account, thousands of dollars meant for community upkeep. The kicker? I was on the county budget committee, overseeing every dime the HOA received from local grants. Karen had no idea. The next HOA meeting was in a week, and I planned my move. I let Karen think she'd won, watching as she escalated her campaign. She rallied her neighbors, spreading lies about my greed, and even filing a formal complaint with the county, claiming I was violating some obscure ordinance. The tension was palpable. Neighbors I'd known for years avoided my gaze, swayed by her venom. But I held my ace. The meeting was held in the community center, a stuffy room packed with folding chairs and Karen's loyalists. She stood at the podium, railing against me, her voice shrill. "Tom's lake belongs to us all," she declared, to scattered applause. I waited, biding my time, until the budget discussion began. Then I stood, clipboard in hand, and dropped the bomb. "Karen, you've been vocal about community rights," I said, my voice steady. "But let's talk about the HOA's finances. Specifically, the $15,000 missing from last year's budget." The room went silent. I handed out copies of Marty's evidence, bank statements, emails, the works. Karen's face drained of color. "As county budget chair," I continued, "I've frozen all HOA grants until an audit's complete. Good luck with your picnic now." The crowd erupted. Neighbors turned on Karen, demanding answers. She stammered, tried to deflect, but the evidence was ironclad. Marty, the unassuming hero, sat quietly in the back, his eyes meeting mine with a nod. The police were called again, this time for Karen, who faced charges of embezzlement. Her reign was over, but the victory was bittersweet. The lake was mine, undisputed, yet the community I'd lived alongside for years was fractured. Karen's lies had sown distrust, and even those who'd sided with me now looked at me differently, as if I'd wielded too much power. I stood by the lake that night, its surface reflecting a crescent moon, and wondered if I'd won a battle only to lose the war. The silence felt heavier than ever. In the end, Karen's downfall wasn't just about money or a lake, it was about trust, broken and impossible to fully mend. I'd protected my land, but at what cost? The neighbors I'd once shared coffee with now whispered about Tom's revenge. Marty moved away, unable to stomach the fallout. The lake, once my pride, felt like a weight. What would you do when trust is shattered? Fight for what's yours, or let it go for peace? Share your thoughts on where justice lies in this tangled mess of community and betrayal.